I wonder if there's a part of you, perhaps tucked away, that is hypersensitive. I believe there is. We all are, some more than others. And celebrating the feast of St. Thomas is, in essence, celebrating the feast of all the hypersensitive souls like him. Meeting Thomas, getting to know him, is like staring into a mirror that reflects parts of ourselves we either didn't know existed or have deliberately hidden. Look at Thomas, and you'll find those people who are like crystal goblets. Brush against them, and they emit a beautiful melodic sound, but squeeze them just a little too hard, and they shatter into 1,000 pieces, wounding you in the process. Yes, today, the hypersensitive can celebrate their patron saint. It's true, the hypersensitive often suffer more than others, and it must have been exactly like that for St. Thomas, called Didymus, which means the twin. A twin feels the joys and the pains of their counterpart, even if they are 10,000 miles apart, and that must have been the case for St. Thomas, the spiritual twin of the Lord. He simply could not resign himself to the fact that his twin had died. In fact, according to tradition, on Easter night, when Jesus appeared to the apostles, Thomas wasn't in the upper room because he was out looking for Jesus. Thomas, that hypersensitive twin, sensed, he intuited, that something marvelous had happened to his spiritual twin. That is why he had gone looking for him. But not finding him, he returned to the upper room, where Jesus, for his sake, returns 7 days later. He appears again to the apostles and shows them his wounds once more. And he says to Thomas, "Come here. Put your finger in my wounds. Put your hand in my side. It is really me. It is my flesh, the same as yours, which has passed through death and has risen. It is true that I love you. It is true that I love every human being with an infinite love that neither sin nor death can erase. It is true what the heart of every person intuits, that there exists a love for which we were all created. And we were all created more or less sensitive, that is, more or less fragile, precisely so that we would remain restless, like Thomas, until we encounter the risen Jesus Christ in our lives, victorious over our sins, until we can hide ourselves in his wounds and descend to the very bottom of his heart, where we can place our own, so it may beat in rhythm with his. Only then can we have the certainty of being truly loved, exactly as we are. So, take courage, because in the upper room, in the Christian community, we can all begin to walk by believing, just like Thomas, by leaning entirely on the experience of his love. We can all experience the beatitude of believing, even when reality, suffering, and problems want to make us doubt that he loves us. We can have the eyes of faith capable of recognizing his love and his presence beyond the wounds of our own hearts and the wounds of our brothers' hearts, in the certainty that everything, yes, everything, works together for our good.